Welcome back to Jorts Center. I'm your host, Malcolm Bigsby. This is my co-host, Alexander Frompot. We're just going to dive right into it this week. We're going to go over to our expert matchup correspondent, Risa Huntsinger. She's going to give us our master lock of the week. Risa, Saints are visiting the Rams this week. Who you got?
The Saints.
You sure?
Rams!
You heard it here first.
Alright, this is usually the part of the show where we go to all the NFL matchups of the week and we give our picks on them, but if you've taken a look at the schedule for this week, they're terrible. The matchups are just god-awful.
It's pretty bad.
And speaking of God, we're actually just going to use this segment to talk about Tim Tebow. I think Tim Tebow is fucking terrible.
Yeah, he is a stud, I think. They won last week.
They did.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know, that was definitely divine intervention somewhere.
Engineered a great comeback there. Yeah, almost all of his yards were in the fourth quarter because he's clutch as fuck. So.
Yeah, clutch as fuck. Have you seen that guy throw a ball? Check out the clip we got of this guy's mechanics. Alright, so there's your hero in action. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that clip?
It's crisp as fuck, in my opinion. It was good shit. They fucking won last week, bro. They won.
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
We're going to take you to a new feature this week where viewers can write in and ask us fantasy questions, and we can give them our professional opinions on the air. So this is going to be the first question in our fantasy mailbag of the week here. All right. Jared from Oklahoma writes in. He says, Dear Jorts Center, I was watching Pulp Fiction recently. Okay, and it gets to that scene in the basement with the gimp and the ball gag, and I found myself becoming strangely aroused. This is the wrong fantasy mailbag. This is the wrong fantasy mailbag. We're gonna move on to the next fantasy question. Okay, our first question in the fantasy mailbag this week comes from Chris Miller in Weymouth, and he asks, Tebow, Vic, or Schaub this week? What do you think?
First off, what the hell do you have 3 quarterbacks for? I mean, are you in a 2-quarterback league or are you just an asshole? I can't really figure this one out. I'm not really sure why you even asked that question. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Schaub shouldn't even be in the question. He's a pocket quarterback. It's boring, lame. Who the hell wants a pocket quarterback anymore?
2011.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You don't pick up pocket quarterbacks. They're awful. They're terrible. The Tom Brady's and the Roethlisbergers, they're out. Screw them, man. The Tebows and the Vics, they're in. It's the way of the league. That is going to take off. They're going to be getting quarterback points and running back points. It's like a twofer. It doesn't even make sense.
Do you know how many kids touch themselves to Cam Newton every week nowadays?
But to answer your question, Chris, I'm going to have to go with Vic on this one.
Tebow, probably.
Vic.
Tebow probably is probably the better option.
No, definitely Vic. Vic is going to be your better choice for this week.
You're right. If you're an idiot, you will pick Vic. If you are a saint and a scholar, you will go with Tebow. Okay, the next question comes from Pete in Tallahassee, and Pete writes in, my defense is on bye this week. I need to pick someone off of waivers. Should I grab the Saints, Browns, or Cowboys? Well, Pete, you are boring as hell. I can't believe you wrote into a fantasy football show asking about defense. That is classic. Well done. Next question. Okay, our last question this week comes from Justin in Austin, Texas. He wants to know, I have Tim Tebow and Jimmy Graham, and I have an offer for them for Matthew Forte. What should I do? What would you do?
Well, right off the bat, you're basically looking at getting rid of 3 guys because Tebow is a crappy quarterback and a decent running back all in one. And then you got the tight end, all for Matt Forte, who, according to Ian Oliver, is overrated anyway. You know,
I'd agree with that.
He's not that great, so I don't know. And, I think Tebow's going to come around and be heavenly.
Yeah. Also, Forte hangs out with fucking Jay Cutler, and Tebow is a maniac. So that alone, I don't think I'd trade Tebow straight up for Forte. He's a dickhead. So now it's time for our fantasy matchups of the week. No sponsors this week. Not entirely sure why. But first matchup on the docket here is going to be the Weymouth Wookiees. That's That's Michael Corcoran Sr. taking on Michael J. Wolf. Who you got this week?
All right, I got Action Jackson over Mike Corcoran Sr. this week. I'm taking a look at the teams right now, and it's going to be a tough matchup, seeing as how Action Jackson actually has almost no wide receivers, because he has the entire Green Bay Packers wide receivers on his team, and they are on bye this week. So instead of being able to start 3 of them and a running back, basically the whole team, he now has to start a couple of his backups, throw in Bo, not a bad backup, I guess, and if Johnson plays, he might be okay. Then over on the other side here, I'm taking a look at Mike Corcoran Sr.'s team, and he's got Brady. He's looking good. I'm taking a look at his bench, and he's still got Peyton Manning on his bench. So he's out for the season. But hey, on the bright side, I'm thinking that you could probably take Peyton Manning and trade him for Jamal Charles, and that'll really get you there, because you're looking a little weak over on the running back side. So you should probably heed my advice. Next matchup we got is Ted McDonald versus Joe Murphy. Who you got in that one, Malcolm?
Okay, you look at last week, and Joe Murphy actually had his best week of the season, and Ted, I think, had his worst. So you'd think I'd go with the hot hand and ride Joe. Not that anyone in their right mind would want to ride Joe, but what I mean is that Joe is starting Michael Crabtree and Mario Manningham. And bro, why are you starting Michael Crabtree and Mario Manningham? So that, and the fact that I think Joe will get less upset with me and cry less on the internet when I pick Ted. So yeah, I'm taking Ted this week. Okay, now the time has come for our great ginger throwdown debate. We're going to be breaking down the matchup between a couple great gingers this week. We got Colin McDowell's taking on Sean Evers, and let's break it down. Who you got?
That's right, this is going to be a great match. We got Colin on one side, who has next to everybody on bye. Rogers from last week, who blew up, and he does every week, but he doesn't have him. But he does have Eli Wannabe, my big brother Manning, which should be just awful for him. But he does have Megatron and Des Bryant, so that'll be pretty good. He also has Gronk on his bench, who he should be putting in as a tight end for Finley, who is on bye this week. Gronk was out mingling with some porn stars a little bit this week. I don't know if you heard any of that. You see any of that?
I did see that. I did some research on that after the fact. Really get the background or whatever, because I'm a professional. So you're taking Colin.
Yes, so I'm going to go with Colin over Evers in this one.
Okay. Well, speaking of getting fucked on camera, I'm going to take Evers over Colin, and I'm gonna list why. Got AP, MJD, AB, and MC. Those are initials for 4 of his players that are pretty good. So I don't know. I thought that'd be kind of cool to do. So I'm taking him because Colin sucks and everyone's on bye, and Megatron can't carry him. So next matchup is Sean Colleran versus Corky. Who you got?
All right, I'm going to have to go with Sean Colleran on this one. Just taking a look over his team right now, and he did all right last week for being in bye week hell. But, DeMarco Murray got him 31 points last week. He was the breakout player of the week. I'm kind of hoping that Felix Jones just never comes back for him, huh? That would be great. Also, he's got Frank Gore back. He's got all of his Eagles back. He's got Vic and he's got Deshaun Jackson, so that's looking pretty good. Still got Jason Witten going, and Rackers. He's always getting him a bunch of points. He's racking up the points, huh? Then you take a look over at Corky's side, and, he's got Roethlisberger. He's got a couple good people on his team, but according to my insider Joe Murphy, Wes Welker is very overrated, not a very good wide receiver, so he's probably not going to get him very many points, according to Joe. So, I'm going to have to go with Sean Colleran on this one. Next matchup we got this week is Ian Oliver versus Patrick Kearns. Who you got in this one?
Well, Alex, I am actually going to surprise a lot of people with my pick this week. I am taking Patrick Kearns over Ian Oliver. And I'm not going to break down all the statistics one by one, player by player, like I'm paid to do as a professional analyst. I can show you a graphic actually right now. You can see it on your screen, and that'll give you a high-level overview of just how much better Ian's team is than everyone else's. Okay, but the reason I'm taking Patrick Kearns this week is because for 4 weeks running, Ian Oliver has let his opponents win. And why? Why, you ask? Do you ask why?
Yep.
Because he is a generous man, and he is a better friend than all these other people in this league. He has far and away the best team. He could win no problem. He could be undefeated. He could be double undefeated right now if he wanted to be. But he doesn't want to hurt people's feelings, and he knows that friendship matters more than wins. And that's why I think he's going to make it lucky number 5 this week and hand Patrick Kearns the win that he does not deserve. Guy's a goddamn hero. Go Tebow. Alright, that's going to do it for us on Jorts Center this week. Tune in next week if you want more expert advice, fantasy picks, right into our fantasy mailbag if you want to become as successful and prosperous and as undefeated as we are in our leagues, which you obviously do want to do. And yeah, we'll catch you then. I'm Malcolm Bigsby for Alexander Frogpot. See you next week.